It's been a good while since I've really sniped or committed to sniping in Destiny 2, and again a while back I said I didn't want to snipe anymore. Reason being is because I did a lot of sniping in Forsaken and even onwards after that entire year of that release, to the point where it just no longer felt satisfying, and snipers were in a place at one point where they were incredibly oppressive, which added to the fact that it didn't feel satisfying. That being said, snipers then got a nerf. They've since being in that oppressive state, they've gotten an increase to the flinch they receive when being shot, as well as there's been some adjustments of the aim assist cone, more particularly on the lower zoom snipers, because back then when snipers were pretty oppressive, the best ones in the game were the low zoom sights, and the reason being is because of the way that zoom interacted with your aim assist cone, and the TLDR of that is lower zoom equals bigger aim assist cone sweet spot sooner. So when you have a bigger area of forgiveness at a closer point, that allows snipers to be a lot more versatile with a lot less precision. The Frozen Orbit Sniper, one of the new ritual weapons for the Crucible, has made me start sniping again. And I'm really loving this sniper. The sniper feels amazing to use, and it feels very satisfying to snipe again for me. And I think part of that, although there's a bunch of reasons that we're going to talk about, I think part of that, and the main reason for that, is the 50 zoom. So that is a higher zoom. It's actually kind of mid zoom, but I'll refer to it as higher compared to that of the Adored, which is a 45 zoom, and snipers that have come before it, or even the Supremacy with 40 zoom. So this is a higher zoom, but I actually am really enjoying that. And that's weird for me because I'm someone that's been preferential towards low zoom sights for as long as Destiny's been around. The reason I'm enjoying this now though is because it has a higher focus on your quality of centering. So on controller, at least on controller, I can only speak to that. Centering is placing your crosshairs where you anticipate the enemy to be before they're there. And this is usually done from the hip. It's like while you're sprinting around, the position of your crosshairs ready to essentially ADS and pull the trigger and shoot them immediately. That is what centering is, and why you need that more and why you have to have better centering with a higher zoom sniper is because it's a higher zoom. It takes longer to take or drag your crosshairs from one point to the other, which was easier with the lower zoom snipers, so you could flick really hard with those. With this, you have to be aiming down much closer to the target because of the higher magnification. And since this has forced me to work on my centering, it's helped me develop a better shot, and as a result, I feel progress, and it makes it really fun and satisfying to use this weapon. Aside from that, the weapon's got an excellent model. I am in love with this sniper model. Some people might recognize it as the Her Benevolence from Destiny 1 if you played Destiny 1, but I love this sniper model. It feels very non-intrusive. It doesn't take up a whole bunch of your screen. It has very clean sights, just a nice default clean red dot sniper scope, and all of these things come together to make it feel like a very pleasant experience when sniping. I love the Eye of Soul sniper as an example and think it's excellent, but the weapon model takes up a good amount of your screen. It's chunkier, and even with high handling, because of how intrusive it might be, it feels like it's slower, whereas this weapon, I don't even have high handling or quick draw on my roll of the Frozen Orbit, and despite that, it doesn't feel so slow because of how slim, very sleek, and non-intrusive the weapon model is. It's funny, I never thought this would make this much of a difference, but it really does make a difference in my perception of using the weapon, even though it's not anything too crazy scientific or factual. Frozen Orbit does have a pretty healthy stat pool though: 75 range, 34 stability, 28 handling, 37 reload, 48 aim assist, 75 recoil, and of course 5 times zoom or 50 zoom. These are all the base stats, of course, in a 3-bullet magazine. Honestly, these all seem pretty standard for a aggressive or high impact sniper. The aim assist level 48 is on the higher end of the aggressive snipers, but isn't incredibly high. It doesn't break the mold or anything. It's not like Borealis. This actually matches that of the Long Walk, which was the Trials of the 9 sniper back in year 1. So nothing we haven't seen before. Of course, it does have a very low handling stat. So as far as your barrels, you're probably going to want to go for as much handling boost as you can get. That would be things like fluted barrel and a handling masterwork, or if you'd like to go the route of quick draw, there's that as well. I personally think the best roll on this weapon is snapshot and moving target with the most handling boost that you can get, so fluted and a handling masterwork. If you prefer to fully max out the handling of the weapon, which I wouldn't say is a bad choice at all, you can go for quick draw moving target as well as high range perks instead of high handling perks. As a second best option, I want to say to moving target, Firmly Planted is a great perk as well. And if you want to go for the feeling of the quick draw, snapshot, beloved type thing, you can't quite get that on this weapon because snapshot and quick draw are in the same slot, the second slot, but you can get surplus and snapshot, which will kind of get you there at times. So if you value that, you can go for that as well. No Distractions is also available in the first slot along with Firmly Planted, surplus, and moving target. And then again, in our second slot, we really just want snapshot or quick draw, one of the two in my opinion. My Frozen Orbit roll is very good, not great. It's snapshot and no distractions, which isn't terrible, but all of the barrel perks and masterwork are essentially useless. I didn't get any very good ones, and I got a stability masterwork, so very, very mediocre there. But again, snapshot, no distractions is not bad. It could be worse, but I gotta say, even with a very meh or good roll of the weapon, it feels amazing. And I think it's mainly because, again, the weapon model, how clean the sights are, these things feel like they have a bigger impact to me on this weapon than perhaps the stats itself. And I can't imagine how a very optimally rolled Frozen Orbit feels. It's probably incredible. Something worth noting on this weapon, going back to the zoom discussion of 50 zoom and the lower ones and the whole changes that took place with the aim assist, the lower zooms, anything less than 50, got essentially a change to their aim assist and became a little less forgiving, had a smaller aim assist cone now, whereas 50 stayed the same, and then the higher zooms got a little bit of a bigger aim assist cone. And this is interesting because naturally, because of the way that high zoom interacts with, it's a multiplicative effect with the aim assist cone, it would make the aim assist cone smaller for longer distance on a high zoom. So effectively, they've brought that out a bit. And then on the low zooms, it would make it bigger, a bigger aim assist cone quicker with less distance. So they've made that a little smaller. The way I understand this is they've essentially normalized the aim assist cones a little bit more across the board. So it feels more consistent from sniper to sniper, regardless of the zoom. The thing is, we are never going to be able to truly know this or how this works because we're not developers and we quite literally can't see the aim assist cone of snipers. Based on how this feels though, my guess is that the 50 zoom snipers, the unchanged snipers, even though previously they would have a smaller aim assist cone the majority of the time than the original lower zoom snipers before the changes, I think now they might actually have a more forgiving aim assist cone despite having much higher zoom. And what we knew about the interaction between zoom and the aim assist cone, they might have a larger aim assist cone in the majority of scenarios than some of the lower zoom snipers like the 45 and 40s. This is just a wild prediction. It's not truth. It's just, it feels in some cases that the Frozen Orbit feels more forgiving than that of the Adored. So again, that would add to its consistency and also solidify it for sure as one of the best options to use in terms of snipers in the game. Another massive shift in preference for me in terms of snipers with this Frozen Orbit is that it's an aggressive frame sniper. A lot of people in my Twitch chat ask me, why aren't I going for the Apostate? I've been very vocal throughout history of why I love rapid fire snipers and why I see the value of them, and Apostate's a 40 zoom, which again, traditionally I mentioned I preferred. Why aren't you using a rapid fire sniper anymore? The reason being is because of the flinch changes. I think that dealing high body damage is more important than ever. Dealing significant body damage And assuming that you're almost going to get flinched away from your headshot, assuming that the player is going to land good shots on you, being able to walk away from the engagement with high damage to the body is still almost a win. It's enough to capitalize on, especially when the majority of the metagame is using high impact hand cannons, which pair perfectly with a body shot from the sniper. If you have a teammate using a high impact hand cannon, they can put one shot into someone and you just body them and you get a kill, and vice versa. You body them and it's enough to start pushing up and capitalizing on that massive damage, putting in one shot and cleaning the target up. Even on an individual level, being able to just put in that massive damage and quick swapping to clean up is so good, and it's so impactful and valuable now because of the increased flinch now that you're receiving on sniper rifles. And being an energy sniper, which is yet another great point for this weapon, I get to pair it with the last word, which I've recently picked up again, and them together, even without high handling, is insanely strong. Being able to body shot, whip out the last word, and just clean up is very strong. And again, yet another reason why I think the sniper is incredible right now. The worst part of the sniper, like many other weapons this season, is the drop rate. We can talk about the most optimal roles and the roles that we want to go for, but the reality is here is we really can't get this. I counted, I had a day on stream, and now my stream counts the games with me. 57 games before getting a frozen orbit drop. The next day, 20 games before getting just a single frozen orbit drop. That means I've been averaging like maybe one every 2 days, every other day, sometimes one per day. I think that is ridiculously low, especially when we consider that this weapon has 12 perk slots in both its trait slots, and only, maybe being generous here, 3 viable options in the first slot and 2 viable options in the second slot. That is very bad. So that's why I'm kind of stuck with my good not great role, and I'm actually really happy with it because there are people out there that have still not even gotten snapshot or quick draw on a roll to begin with, just that perk alone. So at this point, I'm aware that the drop rates are increasing, and I'm really hoping that this lets us get some optimal rolls and actually farm for some rolls of this. But at this point, even though we can think of the best roll possible, I think like if you get a good enough roll, just be happy with what you got. And luckily enough, the sniper still feels pretty damn good, but it leaves you wanting more, thinking of how amazing it could be with the right roll. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'd love to see what rolls you guys have earned, of course, of the frozen orbit, and maybe how many drops it took you to earn that roll. So let me know in the comments below. And if you guys would like to check me out on Twitch, shameless plug, of course, check out my mixtape, twitch.tv/Drewskys. Hope to see you there on my live shit post I do nearly every day. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.